Welcome to Cambodia Business Week. We're glad to be back this Saturday. Today we have a very special guest. Today we're going to talk to a Khmer entrepreneur who's been educated around the world and has actually worked around the world, but has come back here and is doing an incredible job with franchising. Because you and I were just together on the last event, the franchising event. We were on the committee together. We were on the panel discussion together. So franchising is a very interesting topic, and we could talk about that. But we could talk about the fantastic work you're doing with your company. But first, let me introduce young Sarath.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
Well, let's have a casual discussion about really your history. Where you came from, where you've been educated. So first, let's start with where you're originally from.
Well, I'm local. I'm Cambodian, but I was born in the east of Cambodia, in Kampong Cham province. But I was educated in Cambodia and bachelor degree in Phnom Penh, and then I got a scholarship in Beijing in China on international business. Master degree there, and then continues in Holland and master degree there.
Okay, well, I think a lot of Cambodian students would want to know how you were fortunate enough to get these opportunities. So you went to school here, and how did you get the opportunity to get a scholarship in China?
Well, I was working for a franchise hotel, Sofitel, and there was Sofitel in China. There opening in 2008. Sofitel Vanda Beijing in China, opening during the Olympic time. Then it was an opportunity that I have also applied in the same time, and the job there and a scholarship, and I passed it immediately based on the experience.
Okay, so how was it like going to school in China? 'Cause this was 2008, correct?
Yeah.
How did you find the differences of being going to school here in Cambodia and then going to school in China?
Well, in Cambodia, we both work and studying and schooling. In China, was doing the same. I was working for Sofitel Vanda Beijing in the daytime, and then I have to study in the evening time in a master degree of international business.
Are the school systems very different?
Were completely different, yeah.
Completely
but fortunately, we have 70 nationality from different country, and then we all speak English. So the school.
The school was in English.
Yeah, was in English.
Okay. What was the major differences between going to school in Cambodia versus going to school in China?
Well, in Cambodia, it looked like a little bit limited and wider.
Is it harder?
Economic point of view.
Was it harder?
Yeah, I think. But I was looking for an opportunity, both working in overseas and studying in overseas. So my main purpose there was to be working in overseas for a while, to bring back all the knowledge here in Cambodia.
And then you went to university in the Netherlands, right?
Yeah, in Netherlands. In
how did that opportunity come about?
Again, it's a scholarship. I have applied and then I passed on an interviews, and I was appointed as a manager in a Sarath hotel in Rotterdam, and then in Netherlands. Then it's a time that I'm looking for an opportunity to study there directly. So I passed a scholarship there. Meanwhile.
Okay. So you have a master's degree, master's of business administration.
Yeah.
In both from the Chinese school.
In Beijing, I was in master degree. I hold a master degree on international business.
Right.
And in Netherlands, I hold a master degree on international marketing and fundraising. In Netherlands, they have fundraising as well.
Fundraising. Okay.
Yeah, fundraising.
So this is sort of like private equity.
Yeah, it's just fundraising. It's just like business, but fundraising it's about raising funds. It's about getting more involved on money.
All right.
Yeah.
So you particularly chose the food and beverage industry because you worked for Sofitel. What attracted you to the food and beverage industry, the hospitality industry?
Well, I was starting first as a waiter in Raffles Hotel in Siem Reap.
So you started as a waiter.
Yeah, I started as a waiter
So
there.
that's what they say. You have to start at the bottom, right? So
Yeah.
you started at the bottom, right?
Yeah, I started as a waiter there, and then I was sent to Singapore and Raffle in Singapore for 2 years.
So you must have been a very good waiter.
Yeah. So coming back, I had an opportunity not to stay anymore. I have to
Right.
leave because I gained more experience there, and then I applied for Sofitel in Siem
Now,
Reap.
this is an incredible story because
Yeah.
you were a waiter in Siem Reap, and then all of a sudden you get sent to Singapore as a waiter.
Yeah.
How does that happen? I mean, how did you impress impress the organization, impress your superiors, where they said we have to send this guy to Singapore?
Well, I started for in 1999. In that period, it was so hard to find somebody who speak English, who understand
Right.
who understand English. So I was one of the person who could understand English. And then it was a passion. I was 1 year in Raffle in Cambodia, and meanwhile they need to send more than 40 staff to be trained in Singapore, in the same group, Raffle. So I was one of the 40 people there,
Okay.
and
So it was a short period of time, or was it?
it was 2 years.
That's not a short period of time.
It's supposed to train for 6 months, but
Right.
then I was asked to continue for another 1 year there with another 12 people. So among the 40 people, there were 12 people was asked to stay there to continue another 1.5 year.
All right, so it must have been a great feeling to get the opportunity to go to Singapore, especially during 1999. So you get the opportunity to leave Cambodia and actually to work in Singapore. And what
Yeah.
did you learn from that experience?
Well, it was Singapore. It's a country where I would say is running ahead from Cambodia more than 30 years. I would say. So first time we was there, we stayed in the room of 5 or 6 people there. The experience there was everything was completely different from Cambodia. We was in 1999 in Cambodia. I think we have the hotel, not more than 5 hotel in Siem Reap.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Wow.
5 hotel in 1999. Raffle was one of the of the 5.
Hey, how many are there now? There's probably
Now
1,000.
580
So
hotels.
we went from 5 to 580. Wow,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
So I was there in Raffle in Singapore, and then it was a great experience there. I mean, all the local people went there, was appreciated by the Singaporean management because we all working very hard. It's not only me. Even the steward was also sent to Singapore, stewarding, people who washing plate. They have to be trained how to wash the
Right.
plate there.
Right.
That's interesting.
So it was a great experience for you.
yeah.
And then you came back and you worked for the Sofitel.
When I came back after that in 2005, then Sofitel looking for a management. I thought I have enough experience to be there. So
Sure.
talked to my management that I'm going to leave for Sofitel. There's a good opportunity
After
there.
all the training they gave you, you left them. They must have been really upset about that.
Well, there's a chance, but then also good for Cambodian people. We need somebody who can train the other. It's not coming here and then continue stay in the place. And my management understood it. So I was allowed to go in Sofitel, work as a management there in food and beverage sector, in fine dining restaurant. I was a supervisor, and then in 6 months I become assistant manager, and after that I become manager, and I become assistant food and beverage manager. I think within 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So you climbed the ladder very fast.
Yeah.
So what's the secret to your success to climb so fast? I mean, obviously people say hard work, but what are the sort of traits that you need to really excel to grow in the industry?
Well, the main thing is not about hard work. It's about the passion. Are you passion to work in this industry, and then are you passion to talk with the customer? Are you brave enough to talk with the people there? So I was talking to lot of customers, lot of people, lot of management. I faced to all the problem there. I was not hesitated to join a meeting with any high people, even I was not that in a good rank. But there's a lot of advocate there. But they found that it's very important in one industry to have a person who advocate, who talk louder, who brave enough to talk. So I was go one step, and then Sofitel again, the same story in Raffle. after 3 years, I was sent to Sofitel Bangkok in Sofitel Balum Silum in Bangkok, and that was my experience in Bangkok in Thailand.
So you worked in Singapore, you worked in Cambodia, you worked in Thailand, you were
in Beijing.
educated in Beijing and Holland. So
I worked in Beijing also.
You worked in Beijing as
yeah,
well?
in Sofitel
That's
Beijing.
That's right. Wow.
And then in Netherlands, I worked in Sarath Hotel in Netherlands. Then I worked in Paris for 1 year also.
You worked in Paris as well. So is it hard to come back to Cambodia? I mean, working in so many international cities, which are beautiful places to work and live, is it hard to come back and live in Cambodia? Because I think a lot of Cambodians that have the opportunity to work overseas like to stay overseas.
Yeah.
So what brought you back here?
Well, my fortunate it came from my father who support on my back. Then when I had enough ability to lead a team, to lead a company, so I talked to the company that I would love to come back to Cambodia in one way or another, because I want to bring all the experience here to share in my own country. And that is the first decision would bring me back to Cambodia, and until now, which is already 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's always great stories from people that work in hospitality of some crazy guests. And I always ask this question because people that work in restaurants or hotels, they always have some great stories of either meeting some very famous people or some guest that did some crazy thing like throw a television set out the window or something.
Yeah.
Do you have any interesting stories of some guests that you met or some experiences that you had with some guests that were peculiar or strange?
It's my own story. I was working in the in Raffles Hotel, then I moved to Sofitel, and the first day I was one of the management, but very low, supervisor, very low. You manage 3-4 staff, something like that. So I met a guy who is Black American. He's from Washington DC, and then the guy coming there for 5 days, and then drink champagne, and then I saw him 5 days, and then asked, how long have you been working here? So I say already 5 years in the hotel industry. And then why you not become the senior management? I say there's no opportunity there. And then the guy was thinking about, can we get out tonight? And then we get out and we talk a lot about family situation. Tomorrow, the guys appoint me to meet at 9 a.m. Then I come to meet him. He bring me a bunch of money to study in university in Cambodia. That my university life start.
Really?
I never been in university. So then...
How much money was that?
Well, it was a lot.
That was a tip. That was a tip, right?
Well, it was a tip for university. That was a lot.
Tax department, it's too late.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And then, something like $2,000, which is quite a lot. I pay for 4 years university, I still left some money, and then buy some old motorbike there. And after I finished university, he asked me again. Now he's still my father until now, already 12 years. So he asked, what you want to do? I want to study more, something like that. Say, there's a school, a good scholarship in Beijing. You want to apply there? Then he tried to connect each other. That's my life start to grow.
Right. So there's still some good people left in the world, right? That's an amazing story. So just a strange person you met initially that was a guest in the hotel.
Yeah.
Ended up funding your university.
Yeah.
And even afterwards, and became sort of your godfather.
Yeah. And the good thing is that when I became a manager in hotel, I asked him to pay back all the money. So I say, Sarath, you don't pay me back all the monies because I don't need such a money. You need that money. If you want to pay me back that money, you save that money and then you contribute that money to your local people who have the same situation like you was. So you support those the same I support you. And that's the story that I put in my passion that I have to come back to my country. And just recently, 4 years ago, he just told me that, you know, who am I? I said, no, I never asked about that. So he is the chairman of a Citibank worldwide. So Lionel C. Johnson is my adopted father, and he's a CEO of a Citibank, and now he is a president of biggest investment company in the world, which is holding an asset of $10 trillion in that investment community there.
Quite an amazing story.
So it just tell me at the last, then but was not shocked because he have, I think he have 1,000 people like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He must have. That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
We'll have. Yeah. That's very encouraging. So, I guess the part of the lesson learned is always be nice to your guests or your customers because you never know who they are.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's it's always important to have sort of a good relationship with your customers and your guests.
Yeah. So now I'm doing that. I'm helping the other communities like you have me before,
Okay.
and then contribute from what I earn from my own businesses and my what I earn.
Right.
From
Well, that's a great story. Let's talk a little bit more about your career because after Sofitel, you were at the Camara Anchor Hotel.
Yeah.
And what were you doing at that hotel?
As a general manager, actually.
General manager.
It's a 4-star hotel with 140 rooms.
Okay. And that's in Siem Reap?
In Siem Reap, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you moved on to ICS International?
Yes, ICS International. But I work for ICS in Asia. ICS is investing in children and their society. So they are investing on any business care which is at the end of the day benefit to children.
Right. So this is your sort of philanthropy work, your charity work, right?
Yeah, philanthropy, but also it's a social business.
Right.
Social investor. Yeah.
Right. And what do they do exactly? What's the their goal and their mission?
Well, the goal is to make sure the children get support, grow, secure, and to get that they cannot give money to the children because they cannot give money to the parents. So they're looking for any businesses, any social businesses which could social business. I mean a business where gain a financial sustainable with social contribution. So any businesses running that way, ICF would invest on that businesses to grow it wider.
Okay. And this is fantastic work. I mean, I think a lot of us that are in the business world are absorbed in our jobs and our careers. How important is it to you to give back? Because this obviously somebody gave to you, and that's made a big impression on you, and you want to give back. So what would you say to Khmer business owners or Khmers that are on the fast track and in good jobs that they need to spend some time to give back to the country?
I think it's the trend now. Either the owner want or not, but the trend is going that way. Your business have to contribute one way or another back to societies. You can see Gates spending $100 million a year on that contribution, Bill Gates, and then Warren Buffett, Mark from Facebook. Anybody who run a fully commercial now they turn into a social contribution. In Cambodia would be the same. In the next trend, a business would grow well and more secure unless you have social contribution and with a green impact somehow. And that is the main message I want to give out today. And again, in my company where I'm working there now, where I'm there now in Heng Sokmean Investment Group, we hire deep and mood staff to work for our company as well. It's a coffee shop. We have franchise coffee shop where sold by deep and mood staff. You would see there. So it's time for us to do that. If you don't do that, it's very simple. Your business would not get in higher support. The support.
And how do you get the message out to the public that you're doing these? I mean, because a lot of companies now want to talk about corporate governance, giving back to the community, CSR, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get the message out on your CSR?
Because my passion on CSR and corporate social responsible, but in company itself we have an annual strategy plan that CSR is one of the important plan. I would say CSR would play.
And would you encourage every company to have a CSR?
Yeah.
Every company that's able to put some percentage of their profits.
Yeah, they are able to put percentage into a CSR, or they hire those people who in need to work for them, or they buy any raw material from those who produce in locally in somewhere. This is all CSR. Doesn't have to give out the money, but you help them in one way or another. That is more sustainable.
That's fantastic. We're going to take a very short commercial break, and we'll actually put some music in between, and we'll be right back. We're back. It's good that we've had the opportunity to take a breather, but let's talk about your move into franchises, because you started this with Costa Coffee.
Yeah.
This was sort of the first real franchise you worked for, right?
Well, I was working in Raffles. It's an international hospitality franchise company. It's a hotel.
So Raffles is a franchise.
Yeah, it's international.
You let the secret
hotel.
out. I always thought the Raffles was part of just a big family.
Raffles Hotel is
Yeah.
an international franchise. I was working for Sofitel, also very big international franchise hotel industry. Sarath was the same, and then Costa was the first coffee international franchise coffee shop.
So
worldwide.
Costa came here what year?
Costa coming here in 2012. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so they were
five.
one of the. I think they were one of the first, right?
Well, they come after I think
Gloria
after
Jeans, I think.
Gloria Jean, yeah.
Yeah, Gloria
so
Jeans.
Gloria Jean, one of the first international franchise coffee shop here, and then after that followed by Costa Coffee.
And Costa's a UK chain, right?
Yeah, it's a UK. Yeah,
Right.
it's a UK chain.
A little sweet for me.
Sorry?
A little sweet. Everything seems a little sweet. But it's so this coffee trend in Cambodia now, it's I guess 6 years really when it started, because I came here in 2008,
Yeah.
and I think it was the FCC had this coffee, I forget the name, but the FCC had these coffee shops,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I think they were trying to start the
Yeah.
coffee culture here.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I mean, it's amazing because they started it and they're gone. So I guess Gloria Jeans came in as really a first starter.
Yeah.
And Gloria Jeans coffee is, it's a good global brand. And
Yeah.
then Costa, we have now Cambodia has Browns, and we have
Coffee
Starbucks
Bean,
and
yeah.
Coffee Bean, and
Yeah.
everywhere somebody's
Yeah.
starting a coffee shop, which is
And now there's a trend of coffee shop coming from around us, around Cambodia, from Thailand, from this, like Amazon Cafe, like True Cafe.
yeah, we got to talk about. I mean, Amazon's
Cafe
got a goal to do 35 outlets here, right? It's good.
It's already there.
It's already there. Wow. All right. So you started this with 2012. Did you see this huge expansion in coffee franchises here and this coffee culture that's developed in Cambodia?
Well, 2012 until 2015 was the educated period for coffee businesses. So anybody who opened a business within that period is just about educate people. You would not make any profit from that. And the trend of coffee just skyrocket, grow very, very, very fast.
Why do you
from-
think when you walk in Browns, or you walk in a Coffee Bean or a Starbucks, I'm just amazed at you kind of look at other restaurant businesses and the fact that these places are packed all the time.
Yeah, I mean from 2015 until now, the coffee business growing very well, growing very fast. You can imagine that.
Why is this? Why is this? I mean, it's sort of a global phenomenon, but why do you think in Cambodia, is it a place to meet, talk, work? Is that because it's not like you go to a restaurant to eat a pizza, right? You go, you kind of eat and you leave. But it seems like people that go to coffee shops stay there for really long periods of time. They socialize there, they work there.
Yeah.
Why do coffee shops give that sort of different atmosphere where people feel like they're at home having a coffee and going to stick around for
Well,
longer
if you
periods?
talk about the coffee business in Cambodia, it was growing quite a long time already. But local population, they drink coffee from the small shop. They have a Vietnamese shop, open a coffee shop. People drink coffee for already 15 years in Cambodia. But just in that period, those people who drink that coffee in very small shop, they already loyalty with that experience. So because of that loyalty with that taste, they can move to the franchise or to a better
So a nice air
qualities.
conditioned, comfortable
Yeah.
place.
But meanwhile now, you can see that the young adult in Cambodia from 2014, 2015 up here, the young adult grow until 65%. I mean from the age of 16 until 28 years old. So with this number, it can see that people really need somewhere to meet to talk instead of going to Riverside, instead of going to parties out. Then they need somewhere to do assignment, to work, to do all the job from the school, this kind of thing. A coffee shop would fit well in this trend. So you can see now, based on what I have worked on the surveys, that in 2015, the coffee consumer grow 107%, but again the coffee shop grow only 48%. So the demand grow less than the supply grow less than the demand. So the demand is still there.
But Amazon's going to change that, right?
So Amazon come in the right time, in the right trend, in the right price, and in the right test. So
this is something interesting to talk about. Before we get to Amazon, we have to plug your business because so you work with Heng Sokmean.
Yeah.
Tell us about Heng Sokmean International. Yeah.
Well, Heng Sokmean is an.
I take it that Heng Sokmean is the owner, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Heng Sokmean is an investment company looking to invest for any business opportunity. For the moment, we really want to grow on F&B business, food and beverage business, which is we buy True Coffee. We are the master franchise in Cambodia on True Coffee. We're looking to buy any pizza brand, bakery brand, ice cream brand as a F&B as a whole. Meanwhile, Heng Sokmean also building a mall, 8-floor mall in Tu Quoc area.
They are?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is new to me, so this is great. So what's the name of the mall?
It called G315. It's on the road 315,
right.
And then we call G315.
So 8-story mall.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the ground floor it's about bank, coffee shop, and some technology supplies. And the first floor it's all about F&B, restaurant, burger, shop, coffee shop, mat, this kind of thing. But then you have also from the third floor it's an office block somewhere. But in the other side we have convention center, conference hall, and then parking space.
Do you have any international partners?
For the moment, it's owned by our local owner.
Wow.
And then, for him, he's looking for partners as well. But for the moment, because we just start up, let's say we just start up an investment company there. So looking for any cash that we can grow on our own, we will grow. But up to a certain level, we really need a partner for that. Yeah.
Well, there's a cycle in doing these malls, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but you're the owners of it now, and maybe eventually you'll have partners, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about your appetite for True Coffee.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to do the True Coffee franchise?
Yeah. Well, True Coffee actually it's a very well-known international franchise in Thailand. They has already 400 plus outlets. And then in Cambodia, they have 3 outlets when I jump to here with different owner. So I have decided that I buy from all those different owners and become my belonging only. So we run it as a master franchisor. There's no sub-franchisee anymore. True Coffee taste is the Asian taste, the coffee of Asian taste. It comes from Thailand, so it means that it fits well to Asian customers there. But meanwhile, it needs a certain number of outlets to reach to those potential customers. And this is the period that we are growing. We now have 3. We expect to grow 7 more in 2017. Hopefully, we will get 10 by the end of this year, and then another 4 in 2018. That's our goal to have there.
Okay, well, let's talk about it again, go back to the coffee market. So you said the growth is 107% and 40-something% growth in capacity.
Yeah.
What do you see this year? Because with Amazon coming on with opening up all these outlets, I mean, Amazon's a little bit of a phenomenon, right? Because they're coming, what is the success about? And besides the price, I mean, the price point is very interesting with Amazon because it's half, I think, of what you would, if you want a good coffee, a large size coffee in Starbucks or Coffee Bean or these places, you're spending $4.50, $4, which is considering that the average daily wage in Cambodia is still $2, you're spending $4 on a coffee when most people are making $2 a day. So that's a lot. So that's why most of these are in Phnom Penh, I guess. There's not a lot of these franchises yet in Siem Reap or Sihanoukville yet.
Well, it's very simple. You can see that in 2017, the focus is that the coffee business would still grow 76%. So for the moment until today, the coffee shop grow only 20% for the moment. There's a room to grow on coffee because the supply is 76%. As the demand 76% and the supply now just reached 20%. So there's a room to grow there.
What's the success of Amazon?
Amazon success because one is a trend, because the young adult, it's time for them to have a place for doing assignment, meet people, meet friends there. Second is the price, and then third is the loyalty experience, the same like what I'm saying. To get somebody loyalty on whatever taste, not only coffee, salmon, food, whatever, we just need to eat or drink it 7 times in the experience of F&B business. So Amazon itself, they just have a technique that to get people come and taste that drink 7 times, then people loyalty with that experience. Today, if Amazon increase the price to $2.80, people still go there because they already loyalty with that taste. They cannot lose that taste anymore.
Right, it's true. I mean, I won't say who my preferred coffee shop is, but when a certain brand came in here, I went to try that brand.
Yeah.
And I just got used to the taste of the one I preferred.
Yeah.
And I went back. So you do develop this taste loyalty that you like.
So that's why you have a quite number of F&B business. They create loyalty, experience loyalty, card loyalty, this. The stem card 9+1. It's not about to get customer back, but if you come back 7 times within that month, then you already loyalty. You cannot lose that taste anymore.
Let me ask about franchising.
Yeah.
You and I attended the Cafe Cambodia franchising event, which was just held about a week and a half ago, which was amazing, and we got to be on a panel together. And we talked about franchising. So could you just briefly tell the audience what is franchising?
Well, franchise it's about if you hear about franchise, it's about copyright. So you own a copyright of a name of a brand in somehow. In Cambodia, the word franchise here just getting known by I think 3-4 years ago. People talk about brand. So the young adult, they want to buy something, they want to drink something, eat something, and stay somewhere, which is brand. You call brand. Franchise for local people here, it's about get themselves into the next level.
Right, it's an easy way to start up a business with a model that's successful, that exists already, that you have to follow though. Yeah. And I think that's sometimes people don't realize it's and you have to pay for that as well. You have to pay at Now, I think one of the interesting statistics that came out of the panel discussion, and I think it was you who said it, it's like 80-something% of the franchises here, almost 90, are F&B.
Yeah.
So, which is abnormal because there's franchises for really everything. Yeah. There's franchises for fixing cars. There's franchises for education. Yeah. There's franchises for shoes. There's franchises for everything. But Cambodia, it's almost 90% F&B.
86%.
And why is that?
Well, 86% of the franchise here in Cambodia is of F&B and food and beverage. I would say because in Cambodia you have young adult people, and the age of between 16 to 28 years old is the time for eating and drinking there. It's a big consume from them. Meanwhile, and people with this age looking for all that F&B to be consumed in a modern way. That's how the franchise business in F&B growing very well.
But it can get crowded, right? Because I mean, you look at the hamburger space now. We have Burger King, Carl's Jr., Fat Boys. Yeah. I mean, it gets crowded. So people effectively have the same idea that pizza, the burger, the coffee space is getting very crowded. What would you? As we said, it's a very diversified franchise. You could do education, you could fix cars, you could have shoes, you could have clothes, you could have anything. What would you suggest to a young Cambodian who's bought into the idea, entrepreneur, that I want to do a franchise,
Yeah.
but I don't want to do what everybody else is doing, F&B. I want to do something else. What do you see the opportunities in franchising?
Well, because I stay in F&B too long, for already 20 years, they see F&B still there's room to grow. But meanwhile, a hotel also is there. Yeah, hotel
There's so many
business
hotels in
industry is
Cambodia,
there. Yeah, and then well, you can see there's a car franchise as well. You have Ford. Ford now, I would what I understand from a car in Cambodia, the pickup. Ford is the number one. Ford company is leading the market in Cambodia. They have 27 plus percent of the share market here. But you can see that it's a very difficult business there, and somehow you have in that business of car, of education was growing well, but on a car, it's a business where people have to spend a lot of money to buy, and then deposit, and then this kind of thing.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think people need to realize that when you do a franchise, you have to have the capital. To do
Yeah,
it. Yeah, it's just
yeah,
not that
yeah.
you get the franchise and it comes to you. You have
Yeah.
to invest in outlets. You have to
Yeah.
invest in inventory. You have to actually, most franchises, you have to have a minimum capital as
Yeah.
well, right? So what about in the education space or the clothing space? Is there any, you're looking at franchises as well.
Yeah.
Are these opportunities? Are Cambodians wanting to dress more differently and different styles?
Well, of course, you can see the clothing. Talking about clothing or lifestyle, you call it lifestyle franchise company. You have quite a number of lifestyle company here, Shal and Kid, Pedro, this kind of thing. People never hear this before in Cambodia.
Well, Pedro's a franchise.
Yeah.
Right. A Mango and these, all these
Mango.
places, all these companies are franchise.
Mango, you have Pedro, you have Shal and Kid, you have quite a number of international
Montessori
franchise
from the
here.
school side.
Yeah.
Raffles International, I believe, is.
Yeah.
So there's a huge amount of opportunity.
Yeah, a school also growing well. Actually, I see the American International School go into a bigger space, which is again more than 5,000 students plus there. But meanwhile, people still have a limit financial, you know.
Right.
So F&B is very easy to spend $5-6. You can go to franchise. You want to go to clothes, you may spend from $60 to $150 to get a franchise shoe, to get a clothes to wear, which is they can buy at $4 from the market. So still a big issues there. Education, I would say the cost of education, which is from international franchise here, still very expensive for local people in some house. You are going to spend $6,000 a year on international franchise instead of spending $300 to $300 a year on local franchise. Also, we have local schools as well.
Okay. Well, the last question on franchising is, what would you suggest people that are interested in franchising?
Yeah.
They need to do their research and their work. What's the best way to go about it?
Well, there's a value chain. You have to look at it. You call it turnkey. You call
Right.
it turnkey businesses. Turnkey is mean a full value chain from zero, from startup until open a shop. With this turnkey, you have to be careful on feasibility study. You have a lot of people have money, then you have 1,000 ideas. But then you have to be careful on the ideas, it fit well to the business. So what you have to do is you do feasibility studies. You have enough money, you need somebody to help you, a consultant who can
Right.
advise
And
you.
I think one of the things to be clear about this is just because it's a franchise and it works in one country,
Yeah,
doesn't mean it's always going to work in another.
no,
Because people have different tastes, there's different cultures.
yeah,
We talked about the Subway being a very successful franchise globally. It's the biggest one globally.
yeah,
But when I was in Indonesia, it was just people don't really like sandwiches, so it's something like that might not work. So it has to be culturally receptive.
adaptation, yeah.
Right.
It had to be adaptation, adapt on taste, adapt on look and feel, and then adapt on the age, and price.
Right.
And that's how.
Okay, well, in our closing minute, you've told us about a fantastic career, your fantastic education background, and your incredible career here in Cambodia with different companies in the F&B and the franchise industry. We always want to get some words of advice from somebody that's been successful. And I mean, you are also a little bit lucky to say that. I mean, to get somebody to throw a pot of money at you to go to university is do a lot of praying, right?
Well, yeah, yeah.
So, some words of advice for our young Khmer audience on how to be successful.
Well, I would suggest, because in Cambodia there's very traditional culture that people have money, just want to open any business they want. But I would like to turn them on a little bit. So if they have money, they want to open any business, I would suggest them to study a little bit. If they don't have enough knowledge and study in that business, get support, get help from any consultant company, advising company, whoever, to make a feasible check for them. See, is it feasible to run with such a company? Because otherwise you will waste a lot of money. There's a lot of rich people here waste a lot of money because they think they are success in this business. They will success on every business, but that's not true.
And get experience.
Yeah.
And then we talked about this with a lot of CEOs that have been on the show.
Yeah.
And the tendency for wealthier young Cambodians is I want to have my own business, but have no experience. So it's really important to get into the workforce and learn first.
Yeah.
And we learn from people that have been successful. So that's also something that I guess people would recommend.
Yeah, because in the business sector, on food and beverage, on a chain, on a franchise, you have 1,000 things to do actually on operation side. It's not about
and
selling.
You started as a waiter, right?
Yeah.
So this is a lesson learned. I mean, you started from a waiter and you
Yeah.
So you got a lot of experience.
Yeah. Then we can advise to them.
Right.
But in here, a lot of rich people here, it comes from buying a land, selling land. It's one piece and going out. It's not that easy. It's also difficult, but it's 10 job in operation, 10 things to do in operation. But in F&B, in hotel, in clothing, in education, you have like 1,000 of things to do. It's not only to put money, then you're success. You have 1,000 things to do in operation.
True.
And the transparency is very important.
Okay. Well, Sarath, thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending time with us on this Saturday morning. And thanks for your words of advice. We'll be back next week on Cambodia Business Week with another special guest. Until then, we'll see you next weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for invitation. Yeah.